Hey YouTube, today we're going to be watching some replays of a tournament that has been going on in the past couple days. Gamers Without Borders. If you haven't heard of it, it is a humongous tournament with a $2 million land coming up in July. But the qualifiers have been the past couple days for North America. And what's unique about it is it's a crew battle style. If you haven't heard of the crew battle style, instead of just a regular 3v3 for every game or say 1v1 for every game, the whole teams do 3v3, 2v2, 1v1, and then get to pick and kind of like counter pick towards the end of the series the game modes they think they'll do better in an attempt to win either a best of 5 or best of 7. So it's a really exciting format. You guys should check it out. I'll try and include links to watch this tournament if you haven't heard about it. But one of the most exciting things about it is it can bring out some new 1v1ers. I tweeted about this earlier that some players that don't really play 1v1 that often in the show match scene might come out to surprise you. And that has definitely been the case in the past couple days with Reysbull. Today, we're going to be watching 4 different replays. 2 games against Daniel and 2 games against Chronic. This first one is Reysbull against Daniel. This is game 3 of Complexity's matchup with Space Station Gaming. And they are now in the 3v3. And Daniel was certainly the favorite coming into this game. And, I mean, I can't stress enough to you how much the commentators have been talking about before this match. The 1v1 is free for Daniel. You know, they need to do this, that, the other because Daniel's going to win the 1v1. They have been talking about Daniel winning this 1v1 for so incredibly long. They did their best to try and jinx it, and we'll see if they actually did. Reysbull, the full field dribble getting bumped by Daniel. We've seen Reysbull in the top 100 in the past before. I don't think he's really in the 1v1 scene too often, especially not the show match scene. Maybe that'll change. Maybe he's found a spark for some 1v1. Now that he's had a couple good performances. Reysbull still down 1 though in this game. On the retreat, Daniel trying to roll the ball slowly at him. See if he might make a mistake on his own. Daniel makes a possession play. Back into his back corner. That was an interesting final touch. I don't think he needed that strong touch away from his car. Now Reysbull, the 50, and he forces it through. I should mention, hopefully, when I tab out. Oh, great. I can tab out without stopping the game for you guys. So before we got into these Daniel versus Chronic games, which is, of course, against Space Station Gaming, and then Chronic is playing for all mid. Nice shot from Daniel. He did already beat Alpha Kep once, lose to Alpha Kep once, and destroyed Gimmick. So Alpha Kep and Daniel and Chronic are all top 1s players in the scene and are definitely tough matchups, and he's had good games with all of them. And then the one player who probably isn't a regular 1s player, Gimmick, he absolutely destroyed him. So Reysbull has looked really, really good. And coming into this game 3 for Space Station, they are up 2-0. So they won the 3s, they won the 2s. They think they're also just going to waltz right through the 1v1s as well. See if that ends up being the case. Of course, we're watching 4 different games, and there's a mixed results, so you'll have to wait and see if you guys haven't already watched how these games went. This is a pretty low-scoring game, I should say, between a player who arguably doesn't play as much 1v1. A nice demo on Daniel, got himself tied up. Usually you see a really risky play style and lots of scoring both ways, even from a player who plays more 3s than they do 1s. Reysbull has been able to keep one of the more prolific scorers in the 1v1 game to very little scoring and a nice flick off a kickoff and a 3-2 lead. A minute 32 left to go. A game in which you can hold Daniel for the first 3.5 minutes to only 2 goals is an impressive one indeed. This is a great touch to the back wall. Way to kill the ball out of a dangerous position in expert fashion. It's not easy to get that kind of clear to the back wall. Make sure the touch is soft so you can follow up. But Reysbull does exactly that, and it's the way he's been handling his defense. It's the reason why he's in this series. Look at this reset. Daniel able to save it away, but Daniel falling inside the inner side of the net, which means he cannot recover quickly. Punish Reysbull. Reysbull with possession now. Up 1. Taking a dive for the corner boost, but gets away with it. By the way, what is this trail for Daniel? I noticed this during the live stream as well. It's not just a bug in the replay. Oh, nice shot from Reysbull. Little fake mix-ups. Eventually lulling Daniel to sleep and getting the goal. But watch, when Daniel goes supersonic, look at this trail. It like explodes out in front of him. Of course, he's not going to go supersonic after the moments I talked about. This is a great shot. Even better save by Reysbull. Daniel off the side wall. Wow, what a nice dribble. Brought himself right back within 1. 4-3 with 20 seconds left to go. Can Daniel clutch it out against the South American, North American 1v1er. See how it goes way ahead of him? This was happening on the live stream as well. I don't know if that's a bug in that trail or if he's found some trail that goes forward as well. Reysbull just going to camp over the top of this ball. He knows it just needs to hit the ground. So all he's going to do is force it back down there and have Daniel forced to sit and watch. So game number 1 between Reysbull and Daniel is going in favor of Daniel now. Unfortunately for Complexity, Space Station went on to win the next 2 games and finish out the winners finals 4-1. But we'll move on to a couple 1v1 games that happened against All Mid in the losers finals. And then we'll finish with one more game against Space Station and Daniel in the grand final. All right, second game they're going to be watching from Reysbull today. This one's against Chronic. And Chronic has been All Mid's 1v1 specialist. If you guys have watched the stream, you know that Chronic normally plays with the randoms for the RLCS, but has joined on as the 1v1 player for All Mid in this tournament, and for good reason. In the first couple days, Chronic was able to ice it out for his team and take down some more ones mains and bring All Mid into this later stage of the final. What a save from Reysbull after the air triple bump. So he has proven to be on form, and now it is his job against Complexity to stop Reysbull. And by all means, they're expecting him to. Complexity is up 2-0 at this point in the series. And All Mid is hoping they have 2 free wins for Chronic, and they can just try and find another win in some of the game mode. But we'll see if that ends up being the case. We got 2 games to watch here against Reysbull and Chronic in the 1v1. So far, neither one of them scoring. Reysbull with an incredible defensive stand to start this game and keep Chronic scoreless. Interesting jump from Reysbull in the corner. Never was going to really stand a chance at Chronic. Oh my goodness, what a save! Chronic trying to punish him, but another heroic effort on defense from Reysbull, keeping the scoreline at 0. A nice low 50. Not going to be able to win the race to the midfield boost. And I mean, finally Chronic finds his way in. How many solid shots is he going to have to put in before Reysbull finally cracks and gives him the first goal? If you don't know who Reysbull is, by the way, Complexity is a team of players from the South American region who moved to North America for a chance at some maybe better competition, maybe some better sponsorship. Not quite sure all the reasons why they moved. But Reysbull specifically from Chile. And that's probably the reason why we don't see him playing too much my show matches, just because don't have tons of connections with South American players / Chilean players. But maybe one day we will get Reysbull on as he gets a nice defensive clear and a first goal. Delayed kickoff or fake kickoff from Reysbull. You like to see the mix-up. Sign of a player who knows what they're doing out here in the 1v1 field. Reysbull passed to himself. Chronic thought he saw an opportunity to turn and take it away, but Reysbull's been quick. A nice low 50. Very impressive drop down on an oncoming challenge. Wasn't quite able to work it into a shot attempt, but definitely a solid mechanic for a top 1s player, being able to win those low 50s. Chronic, the free jump. Reysbull, can he go underneath? Chronic, what a save. Impressive defensive stand from Chronic. This is just a high-level 1v1 both ways. You have to give credit to Chronic, where he's playing well. Gonna have to leave now. Reysbull takes the far right corner, and he's gonna take to the skies. Chronic another pre-jump and another interception. The way he's defending these aerial plays from Reysbull, it's very impressive. It's hard to play that pre-jump game as soundly as Chronic has so far in this game. Chronic trying to kill this ball into the corner, and he did enough. Reysbull didn't feel like he had really any chance. He took a soft chip, but even then didn't love it, didn't go for it. Chronic not going all in with 0 boost. He could have tried to low 50 at the end of that possession, but he knew that if he didn't get a really, really solid one, he would have been flipping through the play, and Reysbull coming out of net with momentum and boost would likely just win him or beat him in a race back to the other side. Chronic having to get up to tap that over the top of Reysbull. He tried to get it clear. Reysbull, great catch and cut. Wow. Reysbull, he has been so solid at collecting dribbles and directing them where he needs to go. Those fast catches are really not that easy. He's done a great job, and of course, this is the plight of a 1v1er. No matter how good of a shot you just put on, it's only worth just as much as the kickoff goal that happens right after. So Reysbull and Chronic. Reysbull maybe a little bit fortunate that that kickoff goal goes wide. Counter hook shot is strong. Chronic able to clear it huge. So he's got the boost to make his next defensive stand. Reysbull, what is he doing here? He left the ball wide open, having to recover back to it late. Let Chronic in for a goal. Certainly not ideal. Chronic's going to turn upfield with 0 boost, or with very little, I should say. He's got only 20. Now he's going to back off. Reysbull to the skies. Another pre-jump from Chronic. This time, I don't think it worked out. Reysbull will be able to double it in off the ground. Chronic didn't quite have enough boost to be in the right spot to win out that pre-jump. He's done such a good job with the pre-jumps all game. Unfortunately, this time, it's no dice. Chronic in the skies. This is not where you want to see Chronic. Reysbull's going to challenge early. Chronic has to use the flip immediately in order to get it over the top of Reysbull, and now he can't get back to it to score in time, at least not most likely. He's got 0 boost. We talk about it all the time. In those final moments, that boost advantage is so important, but Chronic actually got 100 now, and he's got some open net. Chronic, a third. Chronic did it. Reysbull keeping it a little bit too high in the air. Chronic wants overtime in this first game against Reysbull. Reysbull, an immediate kickoff, 4-3. There it is. Reysbull wins the game that's supposed to be a free one for All-Mid and puts Complexity up 3-1. After this, All-Mid picked 3v3, won it, and then guess what? Complexity had faith in their boy. Complexity picked 1v1 and put Reysbull back against Chronic, and we'll watch that now. Reysbull and Chronic. Game number 2 this time picked by Complexity. Lots of faith in their 1v1 player, who at this point has now beat Alpha Kep, Gimmick, Daniel, and Chronic. Why wouldn't you trust in Reysbull to be able to finish this off? A nice flick from Chronic, and he will score first. Reysbull wall to air dribble against the wall to air dribble master in 1v1. There's a few other players who match Chronic, but he is definitely one of the best off the kickoff. His counter on Reysbull's failed attempt puts him up 2-0. Wave dash kickoff with Chronic. Able to stay on the possession. Has not been able to fight Reysbull off the ball, though, and look at that really quick play. The wave dashes and the quick catch. Once again, we talk about those quick collections of the ball. Going from separated from the ball to in control of it and carrying it away. Something that Reysbull is just doing really, really quickly. And it's catching Chronic off guard. Did to him once again there in the corner. This time, Reysbull off the wall. And he's tied it right back up with a ton of time left on the clock. Chronic likes his wave dash kickoffs. He's going to get a possession in his back corner. Couldn't steal the boost from Reysbull, but has a ton of space ahead of him. Reysbull being really passive, going to get himself bumped and probably scored on here. Demoed, and yes, it did go in. There is that big muffin man, or whatever it is. Reysbull, wall to air dribble. Looking mechanical in the skies. Chronic tries to challenge early, so he flips it over the top. And unlike when Reysbull challenged Chronic earlier in the last game, he was not too high in the air, so he could use that flip right away and still have it be a goal. Whereas when Chronic used his flip, he was forced to send it off into the corner. Chronic, look at the flicks. Wow. 4-3. Chronic's flick game on point right now. Failed the kickoff. Able to hold on to 28 boost to try and finish off this immediate kickoff goal. But Reysbull actually does a great job to recover. And Chronic plays it really, really smart. You see, didn't go all in on the goal line like he could have. Try and force it in on that bottom right post. Instead, recognize that he was in an incredibly advantageous situation. Just let Reysbull on 0 boost tap into the corner, collect with 100, and you're likely to be able to make a play in the following shot attempt anyways, especially when you're Chronic and you're confident in your ability to score those flicks like he has been. So now, up 5-3. Good hesitations on the challenge. Just kind of keep Reysbull guessing before finally diving in. Reysbull shooting way too high. And I'm really surprised Reysbull didn't try and touch this ball back to his half, but this is the reason why. It was rolling just enough. Sometimes it can be a little bit dangerous to let the ball bounce on its natural bounce because it might not make it to midfield fast enough. That defender can get boosted and then challenge you before you can turn around to regain control. But Reysbull had a really good read, actually, that the ball was bouncing perfectly to the midfield, where he would have a great bounce dribble setup right at the perfect moment after resetting at 100. So great field recognition from Reysbull. He ends up catching Chronic on too early of a challenge, popping it over him. Since then, though, Chronic able to score again, so 6-4 at the halfway mark for Chronic in this rematch in this best of 7 between All Mid and Complexity. Low 50 from Reysbull, and finishes it off for a 5th. He really has the full repertoire, and I think he's played more ones than we let on. I want to say I've seen him in the top 100 before on the 1v1 leaderboard, and it's obvious he has got tons of different moves in the 1v1 game. It does not feel out of place, but still, it's one thing to be in the top 100, it's another to play these solid games against the best ones players in the game. Chronic still on form, finishing 2nd in the Swamp. The North American Swamp lost only to First Killer, something that every North American does. Of course, Daniel, not in that tournament, was in the LAN, or was on his way to LAN at the time that it happened. Chronic trying to win a low 50. The ball high up the wall. He is looking to make some kind of magic happen out of the corner. We know Chronic to like to do that, but this time probably a little bit too greedy as he does lose out his own back corner to Reysbull. Now Reysbull, a great catch. Not quite good enough to carry it into the corner, but still very impressive and close to doing so. He's going to be in a tough spot where he was going to have to relinquish that boost to Chronic. Instead, he did his best to speed his way through and have it all. The cost was his life, and now he's down 1. Has himself a high bounce. Chronic retreating. This is exactly where he exposed Chronic earlier. Sees Chronic pre-jump. Feels backflips intentionally off of that play. The problem is Chronic has looked solid. Have to credit these insane pre-jumps for mixing up Reysbull's attack. I think Reysbull has really only made it through 1 time from a late retreat for the midfield pre-jump. But every other pre-jump that Chronic has had has completely silenced the attack from Reysbull. And now Reysbull didn't like his air dribble bump setup pulled off of it immediately. Instead, taking at it again. Chronic, another early jump, another early challenge, another early save. Reysbull reset near the ceiling. This is a really threatening shot attempt. He must not have had the flip. He would have used it, I would imagine. Chronic off the back wall, able to get the save. 5 seconds left to go. Is 50, and this demo should end the game. I can't imagine a world in which Reysbull respawns and gets to the ball. So Chronic does win the rematch between himself and Reysbull, but 7-6, a very close game. Reysbull, very solid 1v1er, even if he lost this one. And he's got one more chance to prove himself as a 1v1er. He had one last 1v1 game against Daniel. I should say, this one did go on to be a loss. All mid did lose the next game, which was a 2v2 that Complexity picked, I think, or it might have been forced. I'm not sure how that works because they did 3s, 1s, and they might force it to be 2v2 again. Honestly, it's a little bit confusing for best of 7s, but hey, Complexity did win it, so they moved on, and now they're playing Space Station again in the grand finals, where we will see yet another 1v1. Daniel versus Reysbull, the second rematch. Reysbull able to win the first one against Daniel. Now he's got himself another opportunity. The context for this one is a nice flip reset and a wave dash into the ground to shoot the first. But as I was saying, the context is that I think, listen, I didn't get to watch. This is the only one I didn't get to watch. I think that because Space Station came from the upper bracket, they got a automatic win. Then in game number 1, which was technically the second game, they called it because there was already one win, Complexity won the 3v3, so then it was 1-1. Then Reynolds and Daniel won the 2v2 for Space Station, so it was 2-1. And now that's where we're at in the 3v3. So it's 2-1 Space Station. One of those wins coming from an automatic win. And now Space Station looking to make it 3-1, or Complexity looking to tie up the series. And Daniel in a very interesting car getup. Once again, his trail is extending out in front of his car, which I don't understand what trail he found that does that. Look at this yellow car. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments if this is a sick car or not. I kind of like people mixing it up, especially with color-coordinated cars like this. You know, the coordination is there. Sure, it's a little bit of an exotic car, but I like it. I think more players should use cars like this. Maybe you guys disagree. Whenever I do comparisons with people, or yeah, comparisons to people in Twitch chat always picks the most basic possible car. That being said, of the two cars, I do think Reysbull's is probably cooler. He's got some good color coordination as well, and not just sticking to the same exact thing that most pros do, which is just, you know, default cars. Look at that shot from Reysbull. Oh my goodness. The air dribble reset double off the backboard. Daniel never stood a chance as he tried to recover back to net to get the save. Is Reysbull going to go for the immediate shot? I think he'll be able to score it. Doesn't stop him from trying. Unfortunately, that does lead to Daniel having a dribble that he cannot catch Reysbull. Trying to play far ahead of the play. Reysbull just tried to catch Daniel on the back wall. Wasn't able to do it. And now he pulled off of his final demo attempt. Daniel had dodged him enough times. He decides not to use his last bit of boost to finish him off. But a good backflip challenge. He was just being a little bit of pest, waiting at the midfield and threatening a challenge at some point. Finally, he does go for it. Comes at the right time because he buys himself some open space. Daniel passed to himself off the ceiling. He's going to have a really hard time finding the angle. He actually got decently close. Now Reysbull the other way. Knows Daniel's going to be recovering late. He accelerated just a little bit too much. Ends up going off the backboard, and hopefully he didn't just catch himself off guard. No, this guy's just slamming powerful shots back and forth. This should be the end of that now, though. With a 50 inside Reysbull's half. I don't know what that challenge from Daniel was. Now he's pre-jumped once again. Reysbull, the pop. Daniel, impressive play. The pre-jump defense from the 1v1, not mains, but the 1v1 mainstays, you could say. Daniel and Chronic certainly long since proven their 1v1 ability. And they have been deciding to pre-jump on these Reysbull dribbles really early. Reysbull looking for the top left corner. Oh my goodness, he found it. It doesn't get better than that. Crossbar and down, a little bit less of perfect placement. Daniel is able to get a save there. So Daniel playing from behind. 2-4, chip off the wall. This is the Daniel special. From those of you who watch Daniel get better and better on our streaming ones, you do not let him win a kickoff for a wall to air dribble. He is so solid in the air. He plays it so fast, able to catch Reysbull off guard. This one's set up a little bit slower. Reysbull from the ceiling. A great 50 for Daniel, though. He's just so comfortable anywhere up in the air, and he's just slowly going to work it in. Make awkward touch after awkward touch for Reysbull until finally there's nobody in his way. Just like that, Daniel's tied it up after going down 2. Interesting swing around the kickoff as he adjusts to what Reysbull is doing. Now he's going for a quick double. Tried to go a little bit too fast. But he knew, since Reysbull lost the race to the midfield, that any sort of speedy shot would catch Reysbull out of position. Just wasn't quite able to get what he wanted. Now, Daniel, another pre-jump. This is what I'm talking about. This guy's pre-jumping like crazy. And it works out great. I mean, Reysbull doesn't get anything that he wanted. And then the counter gets Daniel a 5th. Man. The way to get away with these pre-jumps. We saw Nupo recently in his 1v1 games pre-jumping about as crazy as this. Probably even crazier. Because he did not stay as perfect with them as Daniel and Chronic have. Both of them, as a combined unit, have only been exposed on one pre-jump. It was Chronic, who really had no other choice. It was just a late recovery that he decided to challenge it early and ended up not winning it. Daniel can't make anything out of his dribble, so he lets it just 50 with Reysbull on the goal line. This reset doesn't work for much, but it does keep Reysbull grounded for a bit. He's able to cover his net with a 50. Now 38 seconds left to go. This flick gets dunked by Reysbull. Reysbull, he needs to clutch it out. He doesn't have tons of boost to try and do so. Can he hold on to this possession? He gets the boost to the midfield. Playing it for the ceiling. Daniel is far away from the net. He needed a really strong pinch. Had he gotten it, he might have been able to find the bottom right corner of the net and tied it up. But now Daniel with possession and everything he could ever need. He's just going to drive the ball straight at the net. Hey, sometimes all you got to do is drive it straight in. I think Daniel was mostly just thinking that this is a really safe play. If Reysbull does get any sort of save or touch, it's going to be really soft. He's going to be able to be just fine. Reysbull not going to be able to finish it off. Daniel is going to win this one 6-4. So just like that, Daniel takes the dub, and Reysbull goes 1-1 with these top players.